Well, here we are. What's up, guys? It's Devin, and I'm back. After a small and unexpected hiatus, basically school and work were just like beating me to a pulp. Here I am, I'm back in business. Don't worry, not that anyone was truly worried I was ever gonna quit, but I'm not gonna quit. It's just, you know, sometimes life happens, and that's okay. Also, I'm washing my sheets right now, so that's why there's like some ugly mattress, so just forgive me. Today I'm going to be testing out the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Liquid Foundation, and I'm going to compare it with the Stick Foundation. I was actually lucky enough to receive these compliments of Influenster and Makeup Forever, so thank you so much to Influencer and Makeup Forever for sending me these products. I was super excited to hear that I was going to receive them, because if you watch my past videos, you probably know that the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Foundation is like one of my favorites. It's what I've been using since like April, maybe earlier than that. I don't really know. And then I was also able to try out the stick version for the first time. So I've been using these for a few weeks, and I do have my thoughts and opinions on both of them. But I did want to make a video where I did half of my face with one foundation, half on the other, so we could kind of go throughout the day and see if they wear any differently, since they are two different formulas. I'm going to give a few details on each of the foundations. So first up is the liquid version, and this is officially called the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Invisible Cover Foundation. I am the shade Y225 or 117. According to Sephora.com, this is a best-selling HD foundation with an ultra lightweight texture that provides ultra flawless skin. The liquid version comes in 40 different shades, so there's definitely a shade that is going to match you. And this Ultra HD version was actually formulated for like TV and movie, just like film. So if you have a career or any type of event that's coming up where you know that you're gonna be on film and you really need your skin to be looking hot, then you know that this was formulated for that purpose. So I'm going to prep my face today actually using the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer. This is the hydrating version. This is just my primer of choice. It just so happens to also be Makeup Forever. So I'm just going to start out with one pump. I guess I'm picking this side because that's the side I just put it on. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend this in. I'm using a damp Real Technique sponge. I'm going to be using the same application techniques as well as additional products on both sides of my face. That way it's kind of more like a science experiment, and you can kind of see how each side performs. I just did a little bit more, and I'm going to apply that to like the center areas or any other spots where there's a little bit more redness. I'm not going to be using concealer today, partially because I want you guys to see the foundation on its own, and also because I don't have any concealer right now, and I haven't had any for a month, so I've just been going concealerless because I can do that, you know? Some people are like die hard for concealer, but it's not a big deal for me. So with the liquid version, the application that I actually prefer is the Beauty Blender. The other way that I would apply it is using a dense like buffing brush like this. But the problem with this is it doesn't really blend into your skin as well with this formula. And it kind of just sits on top, and it doesn't look very good. It looks really heavy and really cakey. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, because I think this is also helpful, my skin type is a little confusing. I'm pretty combo, leaning more towards the oily side actually. My skin has kind of shifted this year. So I get some like dry patches on my nose and stuff, like where I need some like deep exfoliation, you know? But I also get pretty oily, kind of in the center T-zone. I don't have super oily skin, it's just like light oil, especially in the warm weather. And it is like, what, November 4th today? And it's still like almost 80, actually I think it's over 80 degrees here in Georgia. It's literally the worst. So this is around 2 or so layers of the liquid. There you can see it does have a pretty dewy finish. And then this is my foundationless side. So you can see it did a really good job kind of just evening me out and really taking care of all of this redness. So I was very honestly afraid of the stick version because I never really liked stick products. They just never really, I don't know, there's something that like made me feel like they were like slimy. So I was never ever a stick foundation girl. So I was pretty worried that this stuff was gonna make me look like either really like caked up or just like super slick. I thought I was gonna hate it, and I don't hate it. I wanted to give you a little bit of background before I applied it on the other half of my face. So this is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Invisible Cover Stick Foundation. So Sephora says this is a long-lasting multitasking cover stick with invisible coverage for foundation touch-ups and contouring. This says it's good for normal to dry skin. Again, I do have pretty combo, so I have mostly normal and then kind of oily-ish and dry-ish all at the same time over here. So usually what I do is I just start drawing lines on my face. So again, I'm using the Real Technique sponge like I said, and I'm just going to start blending this into my skin. So whereas the liquid version I find doesn't really work well with a brush, I find that the stick version actually does work pretty well. It still blends into the skin. It essentially gives the same look as the sponge, I find, just slightly less dewy because I think the sponge being wet does kind of affect that finish. But the coverage is the same, the wear time is the same, everything's the same. It's just kind of preference. If you're feeling too lazy to wet the sponge, that's usually when I use the brush, is when I'm like, I just don't feel like doing it. So that is one full layer of the foundation. The color match between the formulas are the exact same, which is great. I love consistency. And the coverage is also pretty much the same. So this is one full layer. I am gonna do a tiny bit over here. And when you're applying foundation, especially a stick foundation with a sponge, you wanna make sure you're never rubbing and you're just bouncing. I find that that really gives the best application. Also, I find with the stick foundation, you should really try to avoid touching your face before you set it because it will just kind of like rub off, especially those first few minutes because it's not actually set into your skin. So here are both sides of my face. This is the stick version and this is the liquid. So basically same foundation, same price, but different amounts of product. They're both $43. The liquid version does come with 1.01 fluid ounces, and the stick version comes with 0.44 ounces. So this is around half the amount of the liquid version, but I think that it is fair to say that the pigment is more densely packed in this, so you kind of end up using less product, which can kind of balance it out. I've been using the stick version for probably around 3 weeks straight, and this is around how much product I have left. When I received this product, it had a small cap over the top, not the lid, just like a little cap, and it was right over the product doming. So you can see that I've used like, what, a centimeter of product. Alright, so this is one final look before I powder this baby. There is the liquid and the cream. I do think that the cream is just slightly dewier. Is there an angle that I can provide that would show that? If you're familiar with me and my preferences, you know that I'm a matte foundation girl all the way, every day, forever, for the rest of my life. Anyone, even if you do prefer a more satin or dewy finish, you need to apply some sort of light setting powder on this foundation, especially the cream, or else it is going to kind of slide around a little bit. The cream has a bigger tendency to move, but the liquid also does move too. Moral of the story is set it with a setting spray or like a light dusting of powder, something, just so it stays in place and you don't have to worry about like touching your face and it being tacky. So my powder of choice is the RCMA No Color Powder. This is just a no color translucent powder, and this is what I pack into my skin most days. So what I do is I just pat it out on a flat surface. I usually just use my Moonchild palette because they sit right next to each other, and I usually use my Moonchild palette when I do my makeup. And what I actually do is I use the wet sponge and I pack it into my skin using the wet sponge, which I find kind of sets the powder in a little bit better so that it's not gonna like sit on top of your foundation, but it's gonna sit in your foundation. And I use what may look like a lot of this powder because I'm packing it into the skin and it's not sitting on top. It ends up looking pretty natural, but I guess you can be the judge of that. Alright, so I'm all powdered up. Here is the end result. You can check that out for yourself. It just kind of mattifies everything. Neither side reacts differently to the powder, so that's it. So I'm gonna go do my eye makeup, then I will come back, finish up my face makeup on camera so you can see how it applies over each of the foundations, and then we'll move forward with our lives. So the first thing I'm going to do is contour, and the actual only place I've been contouring lately is my nose. I don't contour my cheekbones or anything else really. I just haven't really been in the mood for the past few weeks. So I just don't, you know? I think that's pretty fair. I know this looks super crazy. I know, don't worry. What are they doing up there? I hate my upstairs neighbors. I hate them. Moving on to highlight, I'm going to use 2 different products today. So first I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighter. This is in Radiant Lights. And I'm going to use it on my nose first. I'm going to pile it right on the bridge and on the tip of my nose. And I'm going to let it sit there because that's what I do. And then I'm going to do it on my cheeks, mostly focusing on this inner portion because I'm going to use a colored one on the back part. So now I'm going to pull out my Moonchild palette. Boom. So I'm going to take Purple Horseshoe again on my fan brush. And I'm just going to tuck it right back here. One of my favorite ways to wear the Moonchild palette is to do a more natural highlight and then kind of do a gradient into the crazy color. And then to finish up the powders on my face, I'm just going to apply blush. This is the Fergie Wet n Wild Brush with Destiny blush. I think this was discontinued. Holy crap, a giant chunk of it just fell out onto my lap. Where did it go? Oh gosh, that was rude. Do you see that little dig right there? Anyway, I was saying that I think this blush has been discontinued, which kind of makes me sad because I love it because it's really soft, but also I've been using it forever and like there's not a dent in it except for that giant crack that just fell out. So I think I'm gonna be okay, you know? Now that nose highlight's been sitting there, just gonna do a quick blend out with my finger. So here's a quick look after I've applied the powders. But that's all I have for right now. It is 2 o'clock right now, so I will check back in with you guys in just a little while once something has changed. So I'll see you guys in a bit. What time is it? Probably should have checked that before I clicked record. So it is 6:44, so almost 5 hours after initial application. Well, I guess 6 hours really, because I applied it before 2 o'clock, which is the last time I checked in. And as you can see, I'm a little shiny, which was expected, especially like right in this central area. So this was the liquid side, and this is the stick side. I think they're both comparably shiny, but I feel like the stick side is just a bit shinier. I feel like this foundation, the stick side in general, does kind of break down a little bit faster. So I think that that is to be the blame for that. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pat my face down really quick with like a piece of toilet paper, kind of remove that shine so we can see if it like comes back again. So I'm just gonna really lightly pat. And that kind of took care of most of the shine. Beautiful. So that's all I have for now. I'm gonna go to the opera with my friends and I'll check in with you guys after. Alright, it's 11 o'clock. The shine came back, but not a ton. I still think that this side wears slightly shinier, so I think that the stick does wear just a little bit dewy, and it has a tendency to kind of let your oil break through. But other than that, I think they wear the same. Coverage is still the same, no fading, but I'm gonna take my makeup off now because I'm gonna do a mask. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave them down below. You can follow me on all my social media. All those links are on the screen as well as down below, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.